Good. Happy Monday, everybody. And this is our second one of going live on Instagram. And more or less, we're doing these to kind of repurpose into a YouTube and kind of help other business owners along their journey. I was actually out of town in Scottsdale last week. And I was able to meet with other business owners on how to improve our business. And I was like, you know what? We had some good insight. We learned some good insight, and I want to help all of you not only how to make more money, how to improve your business, but talk about how, like, I'm along my journey right now, what's working for us and what I think you should be doing in 2023. And also this last Saturday, we had our first newsletter goes live. This was huge for me because I've been working on this for like a couple months. To get this live, and we created a newsletter called Unfollow the Herd. And many may ask, why unfollow the herd? And I'll get to that, but our newsletter is about mindset, it's business, it's entrepreneurship, and it's, of course, real estate investing. So it's kind of it's not a specific topic, but it's like how to improve yourself to be your best self, to make your most wealthy self. So it all is in the same mindset and the same entrepreneurship, real estate. It's all aligned together, but it's how we get, it's progress over perfection. And that's what I'm after every day. And that's why I formed Unfollow the Herd. So, why Unfollow the Herd? Well, this has just kind of stuck with me over the time that I've been doing content. It's, get out of the mindset that just school, you go to school when you're younger, and then all of a sudden, you're told to go to college because you get a good job. And we all understand this, and it's all what we're told to do, but it's not necessarily what you should do. You may go to college and procrastinate. You may just procrastinate all through high school. You may not know your God-gifted ability even after going through 4 years of college and all the way through high school. The problem is these kids leave. There's even doctors leaving programs. Like, I think you should go to college to be a doctor. I want you to be highly educated to be a doctor or a dentist or whatever it is. But kids go to college for business, for psychology. I mean, there's all these crazy degrees that you can get a degree out there for, but you're not end up doing what you learned to do. So you spent 4 or 6 years of your life learning how to drink and learning how to cram for a test on information that you don't even like. And things change. So, don't go to college to be an area of procrastination just to do it because everyone else is doing it. I did this same thing. I got 12 credits left until I finished college. But what Unfollow the Herd means then is create your own path. Don't follow the path everyone else takes, because the path of least resistance is what everyone's doing, right? Like, you go to college and you go to high school, college, and then you go find your career, you work up the corporate ladder, you try to make the most money you can. So hopefully one day you can pump enough money in your 401k and you can retire. Well, I'm just telling you that's not the path that I was on. And I want to help educate more people. Even in one semester, I think in high school or in college, you could learn how to take a different path, an entrepreneurial path that isn't the path of most comfortable and is not easy, but will be a way to fast track on how you live your life and like what life is all about. And that's like really earning your time back as a businessman, and, kind of getting into why do you go into business? Well, you go into business to hopefully buy all your time back. You want to, the only reason you would go into business is to get your time back. You're like, finally, no one to tell me what to do. I'm accountable to nobody. And now I just get to do what I get to do. Well, you'll end up figuring out some things about yourself that maybe you didn't know. Maybe you can't stay accountable. Maybe you're not good at this thing, but you're really good at this one other thing. And you're like, shoot, I'm a really good operator, but I'm a poor businessman. You don't know how many times, like, everyone's got their weaknesses, right? And you got to identify those in business early to know how to grow a company. So, I'm kind of going to lead into business and last week we talked about, okay, you go into business, or maybe you're just an employee and you're trying to figure out, okay, how to make more money, how to make more money. Okay, well, last week we talked about consistency, and we also talked about like block scheduling your time, right? Like it's all about productivity, but then it's productivity mixed with consistency, right? So you got two sides of the deal. And if you can be productive while you're at work, you can buy your time back, right? Like if I block schedule my stuff down to 1 hour per day, I told you how much more productive you could be. And I think some of you joined us last week. Comment into this if that helped you, or if you're able to follow that. I got a few people reaching out to me about like, hey, yeah, I notice how much time I spend on, procrastination more or less, and I'm not being productive. And then you got other people like, wow, just doing one thing per week every day. If it's working out from 5:30 to 6:30, you do that once every day, no matter what. Just do that one thing. You got to start small to work big. But I had a few people reaching out like, hey, this is really helpful. And now they're finding out like, hey, humans are made to be inconsistent. It's like so much easier to be inconsistent. I think Jen and I were talking about this. It's like, consistency's tough. Like that's the name of the game in business because everyone wants consistent results. So anyway, a couple things we talked about last week. I think you can find that on YouTube. We posted it on there. So go and check that out. Please subscribe and like to this. Follow me for more content, guys. I'm trying to push out as much as I can. The more content, the more questions that we get, we know how to cut this content up into the stuff that you want to hear. And this is the valuable stuff that I've learned along my journey is what I'm trying to share. I want to fast track everyone else. I want you guys to avoid the mistakes I've made, and I want you guys to build wealth as fast as you can. So please ask questions on here. So some things that worked for me in 22 and for my company, and I just want to share this, like, guys, I've been doing like the EOS life. So we've graduated from this. We've done this for 2 years now, which basically brings you all the way through the program. And it's just a way to operate your business. It can operate a coffee shop. It can operate a massive construction company. It can operate almost any type of business. It works. It's just a platform to run a business, entrepreneurial operating system. So, in the EOS platform, and I'm just sharing this because if you're in business, like I want you to run, or I want you to be interested in the EOS platform, because you may run your company perfectly, you think, but your business still needs vision. I'm just going through like the pie chart of EOS. You need a vision. You need to understand, like, I'm a visionary. I tell the company like what I see that's going to work and where we can go and monetize things and build projects, have better profitability. And I shared this with our business group last week. And then we also have data. Like everything's written on data. No matter what you do every day, you have metrics you need to follow. And if you don't have any metrics, you're not improving anything, because anything you're willing to track, say how many times you are, like, let's just say some of our concrete, like how simple, like how many yards did we pour today? Oh, 0. How many yards do we pour tomorrow? Probably 0. It's winter, right? Like, so I'm just saying, like, there's anything you can track what you do. How many times did I, post a story today on my social media to help gain the followers? Like, I can track that. And anytime I track something, I have a chance to improve it. But anytime you don't track something, there's almost a 0 chance that you're going to improve on anything. It's just called working harder. But you don't know if working harder is actually leading to better numbers. So you want to have data, and that's so important. And that's what EOS teaches you as well, how to track that. And then we all have process. So if we're just all working randomly and we all do everything, that's not a business. You just created problems. You need to have a way you do things. Why is your company, why is this employee versus better than that employee? They probably have better systems. There might not be on paper. They might be in their head. But if you can take a person with really good systems into a person that's maybe a very good person but very unorganized, you can correlate and replicate from that great employee and put it on this other employee and have great systems now for that employee. So it's like, and this is no different in business. Like I'm going to bounce a little bit back from business to personnel, because I think It goes hand in hand. But processes are so important. When you go to McDonald's, no matter if you're here, India, Egypt, Florida, doesn't matter where you're going, the McDonald's burger is the same way. Now, why is it? Because it's got 3 pickles, not 2. It's got ketchup. It's got, it's the same thing. It's the same system. They're replicating it. And that's why franchises make money. They have really good systems. Why do the most successful businesses have really good systems? Because they can repeat all the time. So think about that in your business. Make sure your processes are documented. Don't just think about all of them in your head. You'll limit your ability to grow. And then talk traction. So I like to use traction. It's kind of a reverse engineering of a plan. So say you have a 1-year goal. Well, your 1-year goal is going to be something that you're going to need to get down to daily actions, right? So, I'm just thinking some of the actions you want to, like, I want 100 multifamily units this year. Well, I know that in the development space, I need to hit a certain amount of action every day. I can break it down to every month. Okay, well, we need to pick up 24 units every 4 months. Well, I need to put in 100 offers to get 1 deal to close. Okay, well then how many deals? Now I can go down to the day. I need to make 5 deals a day, right? Like you just reverse engineering. Make the big goals, the dream goals, whatever they are, and break them all the way down to a daily action. If you can do the daily actions, then it should bring the goal. It should hit your targets, and that'll get you to the ultimate goal. So I like to use traction as they break it down in 90 days, but you can break it all the way down to daily. And if you can set yourself some daily targets, it gets it very less overwhelming to hit the big goals if you can break it down to daily actions. So think about your dream goals for yourself this year. Think about what you're doing. Break it all the way down to a daily. If you can't do daily, do weekly, right? And then track your progress with the data. So numbers don't lie, people do. So you'll even lie to yourself to think the numbers are changing, but they're not. So don't make yourself feel good. Track yourself with numbers, be accountable. You got issues in companies. So issues is another one. Every business has issues. You always want to, my job as a visionary is not to make processes. My job as a visionary is to improve the processes that we have in place, right? So we get better customers, serve our customers better, and we get more business. So you got to identify issues within a company and really track down what is the bottlenecks in your company, right? Like write these down. You have to have a very good leadership team. A business needs to be ran by a leadership team, and you need to identify issues quickly and solve them. So there's some transparency in a company, and that's what issues brings as the pie chart goes. And then you want to identify the right people in the right seats. So in EOS, it's so important. We use a test called the predictive index that actually helped us identify people. Like we just tracked this like within the last month and a half. I was at Ryan Pineda's events. We use a test called the PI test, and I think it can be super valuable for the listeners out there that if you own a company, or maybe you're just an employee at a company that want to bring a really good idea, maybe you want to try and get a raise, right? Like that's what this is all about. Bring this forward to your company and be like, hey, I want everyone to take this test, and I want to identify that people are in the right seats, right? Like some personalities don't work. Like you're trying to have an analytic person in a sales position, doesn't work. And vice versa, right? Like, so make sure you have the people operating your business, or like I said, bring this to your company and tell your boss like, hey, we should implement this. You will get complete clarification on how to operate people. It'll even tell you like, hey, this person's a maverick. Well, it means they're a little more of a visionary. They're a little loose. They're not detail oriented. And it'll actually tell the manager on how to manage a person like that. So if you manage people, like predictive index, Google it, whatever you got to do, pi-something.com, and you guys can identify that. So that has actually helped our business quite a bit. We're still like rolling that out and like using our org chart to identify that, but super helpful for all of you out there. So these are some of the things that we implement in our business. This is what we shared last week. We've talked about this, but like one of the things I wanted to talk about at the end of this is how we're implementing social media. A lot of people have asked us, we were at the business thing like, hey, everyone's like, can't find employees. They can't find the right help. Hey, I had a lot of business. Now I don't have a lot of business. How are you guys finding sales? How are you guys finding more margin? How are you getting more work? And this was construction based. So I just, leave that out there. But I was able to share that I don't work within my companies anymore. I have operators that run the businesses, the day-to-days. If I go away, they still operate, right? I've delegated enough to elevate myself over time and brought in key people that fit where we were weak or some of my weaknesses. So we built out leadership teams that operate these companies, and I'm able to take a step back and actually just be a customer within my company. I would almost tell every business owner to do this, or any employee that's in a customer. I mean, every business has customers. Take a step back, view the customer side point of view. If you can make that customer's point of view like your priority to make it better, and I'm not even talking about like from the sales side to customer relations during the projects, like for us, or after the fact, like, hey, how did we do? Or what can we do better? Your customers have all the information for you. They'll say, well, hey, you did good here, but like, here's my main problems. And like, you'll start to notice a pattern that all your customers have these same problems. And then, hey, you go monetize it, right? Like you go like, all right, they're all having this problem. Let's go figure out how we can go and monetize that. So I take the owner perspective back up out of the company and just view like, hey, how does the customer view us? What are we weak at? What are we really good at? And your customers will actually, if you talk to them, just unbiased, right, based on your company, just talk to them and say, hey, what's your biggest problem? What's your biggest problem with us? Like, what else can we help you with? Man, they'll give you the answers, and they give us the answers for this content. People are asking, well, how do I get employees? Well, I was sharing. Guys, I'm shooting content. I'm branding myself, right? Like I'm branding Mark Kuhn. I own MAK Construction. I own MAK Capital. I own other businesses, but I'm branding myself to help other businesses do this for themselves, providing value. And then in return, I'm finding good investors that match my criteria. I'm finding good employees, people that want to go places, we're going to go to the next level. Yeah, I'm finding work, right, that people aren't willing to do, or that other people aren't getting because they're not marketing themselves enough. People undervalue what they can do in marketing and tremendously underprice what they're doing. And it's like, you have to be doing marketing in 2023. And I brand this as myself. I don't brand this as a company, because I believe that I can help all my companies with better employees, people that like what I'm doing, right? Like not everyone likes you, and that's fine. But people that like your content and like what you're talking about, like where you're going, because we're going to be $100 million company one day. I'm on the journey. I'm doing 30 million today. Okay. You know where I want to go now, right? Like, so employees would be like, guys that want to go big places, they're going to follow me. And I'm going to be able to hopefully work with them one day. Maybe they'll work for me one day. But we're in alignment now, and I got key people that want to go where I want to go, and they support me through and through, and it just rises the whole company. So, content was a big one I shared last week to some of these construction guys, right? Like they don't spend but $2,000 on marketing a year, or like I don't even think about marketing. I haven't even had to look for a job. Well, now the tide's turning a little bit. Recessions are in the loom, right? Like you have to be putting yourself out there. I don't like doing content, but I know I have to be doing content, right? Like I get a lot of satisfaction from it now, because people reach out and they're like, hey, you're really helping me. You're inspiring me. I like that you're on the journey. I'm not like the perfect outcome, right? Like I am just trying to help everyone along the way that want to be helped, right? Like I can only help you if you want to be helped. But if you guys like this, please, like, it mean the world to me. Like if you go to our YouTube, subscribe to that. We're getting to like 3 pieces of content on there per week on helping unfollow the herd methodology. And I am going to actually be starting to talk a lot more about real estate. So real estate is something like my passion. Like that's like all the business stuff generates the revenues that like you have to pour into real estate to keep money. Cause I was always in the mentality that make more money, do more business, make more money while I was just paying taxes. And I wasn't keeping any of the money. It was just a cash grab. And I want you to understand that, well, business, and if you haven't read like a simple book like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like read this book. It will change your life if you're overpaying on taxes every year, and if you hate paying taxes like I do, like come on, let's be honest. And if you have not generated any of your net worth, or haven't generated any net worth, like I always ask somebody, like, what is your net worth? Well, hey, I own a jet ski and a boat and whatever. And then they're like, okay, well, take out your primary residence. And almost everybody's like, wow, that's like where all my worth is. It's like, and to the SEC, they don't view that as a net worth. Like they don't. So I want to talk about next week on how to keep more money. I want to talk about how to make more money in this a little bit and how to create more money. I want to create your time freedom back. And then I want you to keep more money. So hopefully you guys like this. I will see you next Monday on a live again. And if you like a certain piece of type of content, maybe it's real estate, maybe it's business, what do you want me to talk about? What would help you along your path? I want to help share that. So, guys, I will see you in next week's Monday. I don't know. We're calling it Marc's Monday, right, Jen? Mm-hmm. So we're a little loose with this, but we're dialing it in. So any comments help me. I appreciate y'all. We'll see you next week.